When we see the blue lights and hear that wailing siren, we do our best to move out of the way. We're always curious if we see one at the end of our street, and we all hope not to need one. But have you ever thought about the history of these life-saving machines? Today, we delve into the history of the ambulances used in London over the last 200 years, including the horse-drawn years, right through to V8 engines costing millions. This is the incredible story of the London ambulance. We all take ambulances for granted today. They come in many different shapes and sizes. Most are land-based, but you can find motorbikes and helicopters across London too, delivering the same life-saving rapid response we need in times of emergency. Often referred to as LAS, its origins actually date back to 1832, when the concept emerged for dedicated vehicles, mainly to transport the sick and injured during epidemics and public health crises. One of those was the cholera outbreak, making it immediately evident for London's need for efficient medical transport. The earliest forms of ambulance services were through volunteers and marked the beginning of 2 centuries of innovation. It's hard to imagine nowadays, but by the mid-1800s, ambulances comprised of adapted horse-drawn carriages, often provided by charities, hospitals, and sometimes local authorities. They were scarcely equipped with very basic medical supplies, but still staffed by those able to deliver first aid on the move. It was this move forward which led to the eventual creation of the St John Ambulance in 1877. We may typically see them at events and in support roles today, but they played a crucial and pivotal role in the development of ambulance services in London. They led the way in standardising horse-drawn ambulances, creating a uniform service for assisting those needing patients' transport and emergency care. The thought of being relayed to a hospital in the back of a cart is a stark contrast to the high-tech vehicles we see today. The London Ambulance Service as we know it today officially came into being in 1930, setting the stage for modern emergency medical services in the capital. It would be local council run and would face its first true test during World War II, when the Auxiliary Ambulance Service was set up by the government. One incredible figure at this time was Ennis Smith, who became the youngest ambulance driver, aged just 16. She later joined the London Ambulance Service, and you'll find a blue plaque in Weymouth Mews recognising her service at the building which once housed the wartime ambulance station. In the 1960s, Britain was booming, and London had gone from a grimy post-war capital to an icon of fashion, style, and music. But it wasn't just societal changes taking place. Automotive designers and manufacturers began to experiment. The LAS started using vehicles like the Daimler DC-27. These ambulances were relatively basic compared to today's standards, with just a ringing bell to signal their presence. The Miller Report in 1967 evaluated ambulance training and equipment, marking a significant step towards modernising the service. This report led improved training and better equipped vehicles. The focus had now moved to improving on-site care prior to transportation. Throughout the 20th century, the LAS underwent significant and frequent changes, all in a bid to remain at the forefront of emergency care. The introduction of motorised ambulances, advanced medical equipment, and rigorous training transformed the service, and by the 1970s, it was recognised as one of the leading ambulance services in the world. By this time, there were almost 1,000 ambulances in service, and van manufacturers began adapting their vehicles to become ambulances, competing for the opportunity to build hundreds at a time. One of those was Bedford, who converted the CF with bodybuilder Wadham Stringer. The modern design paved the way for ambulance design and came with an automatic gearbox to make navigating traffic that bit easier, whilst hopefully providing a more comfortable ride. The two-tone siren and single blue light became iconic, and the new style was instantly recognizable, with many examples preserved, can be spotted at shows, museums, and of course in film and TV, such as London's Burning, the Bill and 80s dramas. Ambulances were now equipped with advanced medical equipment, oxygen and defibrillators, allowing paramedics to provide life-saving care en route to hospitals rather than only at them. By the late 80s, there was a new kid on the block as LDV took up the reins in ambulance design with the Convoy, later nicknamed the Lazer due to its livery. Hard to believe by today's standards, it was fitted with a 3.5L V8 engine, popular at the time with other emergency services too. The Lazer became an instant icon during the late 80s and 90s and was cutting edge. The huge box body could accommodate more equipment, and the return of an automatic gearbox made it somewhat easier to use. The Lazer's true test would come in the mid-2000s when a terror attack wreaked havoc on London's Underground on July 7, 2005.
Reports are just coming in of an explosion at Liverpool Street Station here in London.
9 people very seriously injured and trapped. 2 confirmed fatalities.
Over 100 ambulances responded with their incredible teams, working to treat and transport over 700 wounded. In scenes beamed across the world's media outlets, the London Ambulance Service's emergency response became well recognised and integral to the rescue and casualty effort. In 2005 forced a radical shift in the way both the London Ambulance Service and other leading services around the world operated. Whilst the LDV may have been cutting edge at its introduction, a long history of complaints of poor fuel economy, coupled with the now apparent risk of future terror attacks, forced the LAS to rethink what an ambulance should be capable of. By the mid-2000s, the transition had already started taking place to Mercedes-Benz Sprinters. The next step up for London, with the introduction of hydraulic tail lifts, advanced trauma care kits, and improved communications equipment. The emphasis for these vehicles now shifted to being suitable for major incidents, terrorist attacks, and large-scale emergencies, a decision which has led to countless lives being saved in incidents that followed since. With an emergency ambulance costing up to £300,000, they can typically be in service for between 5 and 10 years. But what happens to them once they finish serving as life-saving machines? In 2011, the LAS drove the 11,000-mile trip to Mongolia to donate recently decommissioned ambulances. Similarly, huge numbers of British ambulances have been donated or sold to Ukraine since 2022. But you'll still find many on the road today, just not on blue lights and sirens. The box body, electrical systems, and famed reliability make them popular for DIY campervan conversions, food trucks for festivals, and even mobile community hubs. The LAS have retained over 20 of their vehicles throughout history, and they can be seen at the Historic Collection in Kent. You might have even spotted one in your favourite film or TV show without even realising. The LAS story is one of constant innovation, trouble and tragedy, bravery and heroism. It's one spanning almost 200 years with workers' strikes, pressure under demand, and mounting costs. It's estimated that it will cost up to £16 million to modernise and upgrade the fleet of over 450 vehicles, a far cry from its horse and cart origins. This story serves as an insight and reminder of the incredible work throughout history to design, build, and improve the London ambulance. So now, when you see those blue lights and hear their siren go, you'll know exactly what went into delivering another life-saving trip. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this mini documentary, please do consider liking the video, leaving a comment with your story, and even subscribing for our future content.